Welcome to our beginner-friendly Notion tutorial, your fast track to mastering the basics. Today, I'm joined by Dan and two special guests, Kevin and Tom. They know their stuff and will guide you through this tutorial, making sure you walk away as a Notion beginner pro. Quick heads up before we dive in, this tutorial is brought to you by Notion Array, your go-to hub for top-tier Notion resources. From A+ productivity systems to courses and libraries designed for the AI era, we've got everything you need to level up your workflow. Alright, intro done. Let's jump in. Ready? Let's go.
Hi everyone, I'm Dan. Today, I'll take you through the basics of Notion, covering the Notion sidebar, basic, and advanced blocks, and a quick overview of Notion AI. Now, if you're new to Notion, I get it, it's an incredibly powerful tool, but that same flexibility can make it feel overwhelming at first. That's exactly why we're here. I'll break it all down for you, starting with the Notion sidebar, then moving on to basic and advanced blocks, and we'll wrap things up with a quick dive into Notion AI. But before we jump in, a quick shout out to Notion Array, the all-in-one hub for top-tier Notion resources, from A+ productivity systems to courses and libraries designed to help you work smarter in the AI era. Alright, let's get started. Ready? Let's go. To get started, if you haven't already, go ahead and download the template so you can follow along with me. You'll find the link in the description below. Feel free to pause the video, I'll be right here when you're ready. Downloaded the template? Okay. So, let's just dive straight in, starting off with the sidebar. So to access the sidebar, what you can do is that you can go to the top left corner where you can press these three lines. And that should open up the sidebar. On the top here is just a way to toggle between your different accounts or your different workspaces. So this right here is the search bar and it allows you to search your entire workspace. Below that, this is where we can find all of our settings and it has all your personal information, and here are all of our different workspaces. Where you can create a team space. This is really relevant if you're working collaboratively. Templates is a system where a Notion gives you all of their different templates that you can duplicate, but there's no need for those because you have mine. Now we've covered everything on the sidebar. Let's just go home real quick and let's take a look at what's on the top right. So here the ellipses in the top right corner will bring out this box. The most important things here that I find are ways to change style. The fonts can be default, it can be serif, which is what I use, or it could be mono. If you want to change the text so that it's small text and full width, you can toggle the buttons here. There are also a lot of other options here, like adding things to favorites, undoing, importing and exporting. Perfect. So now we understand all the most important features on the sidebar and also whatever that is on the top right corner. Let's go into the tutorial. Okay, so class is in session and I'm going to be teaching you all of the Notion basics. This tutorial is designed as an interactive workbook, allowing you to learn Notion by following along and practicing each step. We'll start with basic blocks and then move on to advanced blocks. To use this tutorial, simply hover over the block you want to open and click to view it inside peek mode. Here's a quick overview. The title at the top indicates the topic we're learning. The description next to the black bar provides a brief explanation. Bullet points contain keyboard shortcuts and instructions to follow. Text blocks. Text blocks form the foundation of any Notion page, allowing you to write and structure content effectively. To write in plain text, click into a space and start typing. Converting bullet points to text, highlight the bullet point and press Command plus Option plus 0. Creating a subpage, type /page, select the page option, and give it a name. To-do lists. To-do lists help track tasks and manage productivity. Use /to-do to create a to-do list. Add tasks and indent items using the tab key to nest content. Headings. Headings structure your content, making it easier to scan and navigate. /1 creates a large heading. /2 creates a medium heading. /3 creates a small heading. Tables. Tables help organize and display structured data efficiently. Use /table, press enter, and customize columns, for example, name and date. Lists. Lists categorize and present information in an easy-to-read format. Bulleted lists, type, dash, followed by space to create a bullet point. Numbered lists, type 1. Followed by space to create an ordered list. Toggle lists. Type greater than followed by space to create a toggle that hides/shows content. Stylistic blocks. These blocks enhance readability and emphasize important information. Quotes. Type /quote and press enter to add a quote. Dividers. Type /divider and press enter to create a horizontal line that separates sections. Callouts. Type /callout, press enter, and customize the box for highlighting key points. Linking to a page. Linking allows seamless navigation between pages within a Notion workspace. To link a page, type /link, select link to page, and choose the page, for example, home tutorial. Advanced blocks. Now that you've mastered the basics, let's explore more advanced features that enhance workflow efficiency and content organization. Table of Contents. Table of Contents automatically generates a list of all headings in your page, allowing for quick navigation in long documents. Type TOC to generate a table of contents that displays all headings in the document. Buttons. Buttons automate tasks and improve workflow efficiency. Create a repeating to-do list by typing /button. Setting up the action. And defining the list structure. Breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs help you track your current location in nested pages, preventing disorientation in large workspaces. Type /breadcrumb, press enter, and it will show the navigation path. Synced blocks. Sync content across multiple pages to ensure consistency without manual duplication. Create a synced block with /synced block, enter content, and paste it elsewhere using paste and sync. Columns. Columns improve layout organization, allowing side-by-side content placement. Drag blocks to create columns manually. Alternatively, use /columns to structure content effectively. Alright, so the last feature that we're going to talk about in terms of blocks is Notion AI. Notion has built-in AI. Just hit space and ask it to summarize, continue writing, or brainstorm ideas. The catch? It's $10 per month. If that's out of budget, good old ChatGPT is always here. And that, ladies and gentlemen, wraps up our lesson on Notion blocks. But wait, now, I'm passing the mic to my little star Kevin. He's 15 years old and somehow knows more about Notion than the rest of us combined. It's like watching a teenager teach a grandparent how to use an iPhone. Take it away, Kevin.
Alright, now that we've covered blocks, let's talk about how to edit and move them around. Edit and move blocks. Let's look at how we can select and deselect things. Okay, I know there's a lot. I was honestly having a hard time trying to decide what you need to know and what you don't, but just give this a very quick read and I promise it'll make sense. Let's start off by manipulating this block. What we can do is we can click on it and press Command A, and that's going to highlight the block that we are currently in. Here it says we can press space to open a selected image in full screen and we can. We have this as an example, so we can click this bad boy and press space, and it opens up as a full page. We can also do Command Shift click to highlight all of these boxes, and then we can press backspace or delete to get rid of those blocks and Command Z to undo whatever you're doing. So we've learned how to select and deselect. Now let's move things around. Let's go ahead and put these tasks in order. So, I'm going to go to this task 1 over here, press Command Shift and my up arrow, and that's going to put things in order. Yay! Another way to do this is we can go ahead and press this little thingy over here and move it until we see that blue line, and that will also allow us to reorder. If we wanted to move this entire page, for example, we could go /move to. Click that and then it can move to a different page. Hyperlinking is just a way to add a link to a bit of text in Notion. So, let's say that we wanted to hyperlink the best YouTube channel ever, and there's obviously only one answer for that. It's the. So we're going to copy this link. We're going to go back to Notion, and what we can do is select this text, press Command K, and that'll give us this little box where we can paste our link. And then lastly, let's look at how to manipulate the style and the color of our text. And our blogs. So the first way to make things bold is to put these little stars, put your text and close it, and it'll make it bold. Same thing with italicize, and then for inline code. You're going to press this button that's on the left side of the one on your keyboard. And then I'm gonna call this inline code. Oh, just as a quick note, if we are in inline code and you want to get out of it, you're gonna press Shift Enter. And then lastly for strike through, this is going to be the button also on the left side of your one. But if you don't want to go through all of those shortcuts, what you can also do is just type your regular text, you can highlight it and hover, and there's all these options over here as well. So do whatever's easier. So if you want to change the color of our text, we could do what we just did and highlight it. There's gonna be an option to change the color there, or we can press / the color that we want, and it'll give us an option for making the text pink or the background pink. Let's do both. So we're going to press pink, and then we can call this pink text. And now we want to say a pink background. And that's everything for editing the blocks. I think we're halfway there. Navigating blocks. Okay, next we're going to look at how we can navigate between the blocks. Let's open this one up and look at how we make new tabs in Windows. So once again, I won't be going through all of this, but this is all the functions on making new pages, making new windows, but let's follow this when it says to open a new tab. So to create a new Notion tab, it's just Command T and look at that. We have a new tab. If we want to quickly switch between pages, this is where you can find all that information. Let's take a look at our prompt. Go back to the previous page, which we can do with Ctrl-Shift-K. So right now we're in switch between pages, Ctrl-Shift-K, we're back to new tabs in Windows. So we can easily switch between pages by using these shortcuts. And then lastly in navigation, we can quickly toggle between light and dark mode by pressing Command-Shift-L. Tada! How fun! Awesome! Alright, that's a wrap for me. Hopefully, you're now flying through Notion like a pro. But as much as I love blocks and navigation, there's someone who knows databases way better than I do. Let me introduce you to Tom, our resident database wizard. If Notion databases were a secret society, Tom would be the grandmaster. He's got all the tricks to turn your workspace into an actual productivity machine. So, grab a coffee, or tea, I don't judge, because Tom's about to take things to the next level. Tom, take it away.
Hi, Tom here. Okay, so we've come to the big one. I think the hardest part are databases, but databases are really the bread and butter of Notion. If you're not using databases, you're not using Notion correctly. So I'm going to show you kind of the fundamentals on how to use it. Alright, let's look at databases. So the very first step is actually making a database in the first place. But what is a database? It's basically just a way to store and organize other pages, and they can either be inline or full page. So inline means that you're going to have a table like this. It's going to be in line with the page that you're in. A full page database is going to be on a sub-page. So let me show you the difference. To create a new database, you can do /database. Here's an inline, which will open up right here. But if we did database full page, it will open it as a separate page. There are also ways to open databases based on views, which we're going to talk about next, but right now let's focus on /database. So let's recreate this inline table which we just did. Now we can name it to match what we have over here with inline table. And congrats, you just made your first database. So now that we've made a database, let's talk about all the different views. So databases come in 6 different views, which we're going to look through over here. So I just made this class assignment tracker and it's going to look different depending on what view we choose. This is a table view. It just looks at things in rows and columns. You can also change it to a board view, which is really good for categorizing things, or if you want to look at things as it progresses, you can look at a timeline view. And this is if you want to look at tasks based on chronology. This is the calendar view, which will show you all of your tasks related to the dates that it's assigned to you. The list view is very minimalistic. It just shows your pages in a clear list. And lastly is gallery view, which I think is really good if you have any visual components that you want to add. So let's take a look at our prompt. Try adding an assignment to the database below and look at how it appears in each view. So let's add another assignment. Let's look at my actual homework that I'm neglecting for this. I have to do my Aki. So we're gonna do Aki. What class is it related to? Let's say anatomy, and it's gonna be due tomorrow. So we just added that and we can look at how it's added in the board, how it's also on the timeline, how it's in the calendar. And those are all the views for sorting in function. Databases can be filtered to only show specific information that you want to see, or can be sorted or reordered based on whatever parameters you put. So to find it, you can find the filter and sort here in the top right corner of the databases. So what is our task? We want to filter the grocery list below to only show fruit. Let's start with that. So to filter to only show fruit, we're going to click filter. We're going to filter by category, and it's going to open up here. We said we only want to look at fruit, so let's click fruit. So let's say we're going to the grocery store, we only want to look at the fruit that we want to buy. It's the bananas and the apples. To get rid of that category, you can go back there and just uncheck it. Next, we then want to sort the categories based on increasing alphabetically. That doesn't make sense, but we're going to alphabetize the categories. Then we can go to sort. We can sort based on categories and ascending alphabetically, and there you go. Wait, is that right? A, B, C, D? Give me a second. Ignore me. Let's if we were to sort it based on item. Ascending, there we go. I think this shows it better. So that is how to filter and to sort. Now let's take a look at the properties. Properties are all of the different columns that we have and we're going to remake this table, so let's take a look at that. So we learned that we can make a database by pressing /database and we're going to make it in line. Let's copy this title. Project. Organizer. So these are the default properties that come with the table. We're going to keep name and we're going to delete tab for now. We can delete it by right-clicking on this header and pressing delete property. And we can also resize each of the columns by clicking this. So, let's make a number property. Let's press plus over here. Ignore all of this. No more AI. I can't afford it. Let's go to number. The number format can be a number with commas, %. It could be all of these different currencies, but we're just going to stick with number and we're just going to show it as a number. This will make more sense in a bit. But we can copy this as plus 123. Now let's make another number property, but we're going to call it work progress. So we're going to keep it as a number, but instead of showing it in this format, we're going to show it as a bar, as a completion bar. Then we're going to keep all of this, show number, that's all good. And then let's say I'm 78% done work, and this will show up. Amazing. It's just another way to visualize numbers. Okay, so this is a select function, and a select function allows us to pick from different options. We're going to call this vibes in order to add these options, so let me show you what the different options are here. It's good and bad. What you can do is that you can go to edit property and add options here. So good, for example, and then if you want to change the color, you can do it here as well. Change it to green. But what we can also do is add options by just clicking into the box here and adding it like that. My vibes are good, so we're going to click that. Next up is the status. Like the name suggests, it's just the status of where you are in the project, and this is automatically filled for you. You can change it if you want. I'm not going to, and I'm going to change my status to done. The due date can be done by going to date. Look at the format, you can look at the time. I'm just going to keep everything as it is, and it opens up a little calendar and you can click when the due date is. You can also do person. Now I'm just starting to type it because it gets quite long, and this allows you to assign a task, for example, to a specific person, which is really good if you're working in a team. Next we can look at checkboxes, and I'm going to call this completed, and we can just check that if we are completed our task URL. Just allows you to link anything that might be relevant. Oh, so that's quite a bit. But those are all of the basic properties that you can put inside databases. I hope that makes sense, and I hope this is especially helpful when you're using my template and you want to add some properties of your own. We've made it to the last part of databases, and these are our advanced properties. So this is when things get kind of funky. This is where Notion gets kind of hard, but please stay with me. We're going to be talking about formulas and relations and roll-ups. Formulas allow you to manipulate different properties. As I said here, it's kind of hard. I'm not a coder by trade. I've linked some resources here if you want a cheat sheet and some examples of what you can do with formulas, but I'm teaching you literally the world's simplest formula. I'm gonna teach you how to subtract. We have our debit card and our credit card. We have our income and our expenses. Let's say that we want to make a formula to show our current balance. What we can do is create a formula, and to create a formula, it's just like any other property. You're going to put the plus sign and you're going to scroll until you see formula, but we already have it here. So let's recreate this. To create this formula, we can just click into one of the empty boxes, and this is our formulas tab. To figure out the balance, we need to subtract the expenses from the income, so we can press income. Oh, let's do minus expenses and it could be done. And tada, it'll do it automatically for us. Now, I know like the proper programming people are rolling their eyes that this is the only formula that I'm teaching you guys, but this is the beginner tutorial. In my template, all of the formulas are already set up so you don't have to touch anything, but this is just an introduction to what a formula is, and with these links up here, hopefully you guys can teach yourself everything that the formulas have to offer and make something really crazy. Automate whatever. Alright. So the last part of the databases are going to be our relations and roll-ups. So this is how we create linked databases. The roll-ups will help combine data in our databases based on relations, and I hope I haven't lost you yet. Let me show you what this means. Here we have our expenses chart, and here we have our budget chart. Here are all of our purchases that we made. Let's say we bought rent, we paid for. We paid for rent, internet, shirt and pants. This right here is called a relation. What this does is that it relates this expenses table to this budget table so you can see it over here. So as we can see here, we have the house in the clothes category and the expenses table that relates to the house and clothes rows that are in the budget table. So the relation is going to connect the two. The roll-up is going to allow us to see a view from this table on this table. So this roll-up will just show the sum of all of the house expenses. So $2,580, that makes sense. 30 plus 50 equals 80. And so we're taking information from this table and rolling it up on this table. Right now our tables are separate. We have our expenses table and our budget table. Let's press the plus button. Let's scroll down to relation. And we are going to relate it to your budget. So that's that table over there. And we can show it on our budget if we want to. Add relation, and that shows this over here. So what we can do is click this, and we are going to click whatever we want to relate rent to, which in this case is house. Same thing with internet. With shirt, that's part of clothes. With pants, that's part of clothes. And you can see that those show up over here. And now what we can do is roll up information about this. So we're going to press the plus button. We're going to go to roll up. Okay, so now we're going to do a roll up. We want to take the sums of everything in the house category here and show it over here. Let's click the roll up. We're going to click the relation, which is going to be your expenses. And now we're going to look at what property do we want to roll up. Since we want the sum, we're going to want the property of amount. And if we just leave it at this, it will show us all of the amounts that are related to house. But no, we want the sum. So how are we going to change that? We are going to click this, we are going to this calculate button, and we are going to click sum. Hooray! And we just did a roll up, and that was databases. Guys, that's the hardest part. That was the hardest part, and you did it. You're basically a Notion pro now. Embeds and widgets. So we just got to the final part, the embeds and the widgets. First thing we're going to look at is how to embed media. Let's open that. I know, wall of text. I'm so sorry, but these are just all of the things that you can embed. And to do that, we can do /embed, and we can literally put a PDF by clicking the link. We can upload it from our computer. You can embed Google Docs, a Spotify link, a video, a book. The possibilities are endless. And this is how you do it. Our last one is embedding widgets, and widgets can be downloaded from external websites. Here are some of my favorite, and you can use it to display information in a functional and in an aesthetic way. So I did have a lot of questions about doing things like embedding this calendar. I got it from this website called Indie. So let's click over there. And that'll bring us here. So this is my Indiify account. It's completely free. You just have to put in your email. And to create a widget, let's do it together. We're going to create a new widget. We're going to create the weather one. I never named mine, whatever. And it's going to generate it for us. We can choose the location, which in my case is going to be Ottawa. Awesome. We can look at the units. I'm so sorry to the Americans. I don't get the imperial system. We're going to stick with metric, and you can show how many days that you want to show. I just want to show 1. Oh wait, I lied. I want to show 0. And I can go to this clipboard over here. I'm going to copy the link, and then we're going to go back to Notion, and then /embed enter. Paste that in there, press enter, and magically it's going to embed this widget. And just like that, my students, we have completed our Notion tutorial. I know it can seem overwhelming, and I know it looks like there's a lot of it, but once you get this, honestly, you're good to go. You don't need any more tutorials after this, unless I make another one. Then you will need that tutorial. So that's it from Slavoff and Notion Array. I hope you feel like you've been properly equipped with all of the tools and the things that you need to get started on your own Notion journey.